No? Okay. Hey, kia ora, Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Mesa in Arizona. Hope you're all having a super fantastic, sparkling Tune-Up Tuesday. So how was your Tune-Up Tuesday? Did you figure out where you were going to, what you want to get, and everything else, and get it all written down and start the planning process on it? Did you just do some little tweaks to some processes? Did you do a little tweak to the attitude? What tweaks and tune-ups did you get done today? So we had an exciting day around here today. We've got new neighbors, like right next door. So you go across our patio, across our car park area, and there's another RV. So right on the site next door, we had an RV move in today. It was kind of exciting because they pulled in, they got their feet down, in other words, the leveling jacks, they got it all leveled off and everything else. And the guy was out there, he was hooking everything up, got the power hooked up, got the coaxial cable hooked up for the TV and all of that. And he hooked up the water hose, and the next thing, this water just started going everywhere. So if you have a look on my Facebook page, there's actually a picture of it. It didn't go up that high, it was probably about a foot high, so it wasn't that, but it was just gushing. And at that time, one of the maintenance guys, or one of the guys that works here at the campground, happened to be driving past, so the guy was able to flag him down, and he says, oh, and so he got onto the radio, the phone, whatever it was, and got somebody over here pretty quick. So within 40 minutes, they had it all under control, all cleaned up. The guys all hooked up now, and everything's back to normal. So it was a little bit of excitement today. And then later on this afternoon, I got to have a connect with a brand new mastermind group member. So I love it when we get new members in the group, because I love taking time out of my day to getting to know these new people that we have in our group. Who are they? What makes them tick? Excuse me. Sorry, I got a bit of a dry throat. Probably should have had some water before I started this. I usually do. I totally forgot. Oh no. The dog's laying on the floor. She's not happy. But she did get to spend over an hour outside today playing with her Kong. I filled up her big Kong and I put some of her kibble in there for her instead of just filling it full of treats, because it's got a lot of space in there. Yeah. She ate most of it. She was so funny. All the kibble that fell out, she didn't go back and eat any of that till she had completely emptied the rest of the Kong, and then she went back and ate the kibble pieces, some of the kibble pieces that had fallen out, because on the salmon one, I think there's some bits in there that she doesn't like, because there's these little tiny round bits that she likes to get in her mouth and toss and throw them and leap on them, and yeah, she plays with her food. Go figure. But right now she's over at the door whining. I don't know why. I don't see anybody out there, but I know she wants to go for a walk too, so maybe that's what she's saying. Come on, hurry up, get this done so we can go for a walk. But yes, we spent a nice quiet morning outside, which was awesome. I got some reading done on some genealogy magazines, and then came back in, and we have another module in the dust. Yes, module number 4 is now complete. It is done. 2 modules left to go. So I was looking at this going, this is really a 4 to 6 week program, and then I went back and read, and they said it's 6 weeks part-time. I'm like, well, I am knocking this thing out, because I am doing it as full-time as I can. Since I don't have any new projects this week, I want to get it done before the end of my goal is to get it done before the end of the month. If I can get it done before the weekend, even better. If I can get it done before Thursday, oh my God, what a great weekend celebration that would be. But yes, so module 4 is in the bag. It is done. 2 modules left to go. So I basically have tomorrow. If I want to get it done by Thursday, I have tomorrow to get everything done. So I'm working on it. We're working on it. We'll probably do some more tonight. Start reading the next chapter. We have to. Zeffy! Oh, excuse me. Zeffy, come here. She's about to start getting to her gargly whine, which is when I start singing with her. And it's kind of funny. Zeffy, come here. Do you want to sing? You want to come sing? She's gone quiet. No whining. Come here. Come on. No, don't just stand there under the table. Come up here. Come on. Now she's going to stretch and lay on the floor. You want to sing? You want to come up here and sing? Show everybody your fabulous singing voice. Come on. Show how good we are with a duet. Yep, nope, not going to happen. So what was I? Oh yeah, so just got module 5 and module 6 left to do, which is awesome. I just got to read the chapters, do the testing and everything else, and we're good for the next part. So by Thursday, I could have my certificate in genealogy. Yay! It's just part of the continuing education that I have to do, because for to be a member of the Association of Professional Genealogists, I have to do at minimum 12 hours of training a year in order to maintain my membership. So this would qualify for that, because it's over 12 hours of reading and doing the modules and things. So that would be the stuff done for the year. But of course, I'm not going to stop there, because there's so much to learn. There is, oh my gosh, they even gave you some resources in here for continuing education and stuff. And there was like 2 pages of listings of places that you could go to, different websites you could go to, different universities that offer different programs, certifications. There's even a 4-year degree that you've got to do at BYU, which I understand is in Salt Lake City, I think that's where it was. But one of their courses you have to do is that you have to become familiar with the Latter-day Saints religion, learning their tenets and something else of that part. Not sure about that, but from a history perspective, that would be interesting to learn. So, yeah, there was something in there. You got to learn something about their religion and stuff, which, you know, from a historic perspective, would be interesting to learn. And you should always be aware of what other religions, what their beliefs are, their faiths are, and that sort of thing. So that would be interesting to learn. I can see that would put some people off, because they'll try and think, oh, they're trying to force their religion down our throats. And I just look at it from it's a great way to learn about another religion. And because in August last year, when my parents were over here, we actually spent a night in Salt Lake City at the KOA there, and directly opposite the KOA was one of the tram stops that would take us into downtown. So we went into downtown because my parents were curious to go and see the temples, to see where everything started. So we get off the tram, we walk around the corner and went, oh, I know this building. And it was a Sunday, so we couldn't go really do anything. And my parents are like, what do you mean? And I said, my mama says, we have to come back on a day that they're open. I says, you have to come back over so we can go to this. And she says, what is it? And I said, it's the family library. She goes, the family library. I said, yeah, where they have all those genealogical records and stuff. And she's sort of like, oh. But across the road from that, we went into the gate that went into the complex for the temple and stuff. And I saw a visitor's thing that was sort of like, where do we go? What do we do? And they pointed us around the corner. So if you go around here, you'll sit to this particular point here. You'll see these 2 people. They'll be standing there. They're about to start a tour on the top of the hour. So we thought, okay, we'll go around there. And one of our, and we had 2 tour guides. One was, was she Italian or French? Italian. So we had an Italian girl, and we had a girl from New Zealand. So it was very interesting going around and hearing about the history of the Mormon faith, hearing about some of their struggles and things, how they ended up in Utah, how they started building the temple, and they heard the soldiers were coming, so they, hang on, what are you chomping on? Oh good, she's chomping on her toys. Just making sure she wasn't chomping on the furniture. How they started the foundation for the temple, then they heard the soldiers were coming and stuff, and so they buried all the foundation and all of that, and then it was years later that they uncovered it to rebuild everything, to rebuild the temple that now stands there. So that history perspective of it was really, really interesting. And they couldn't take us inside the temple because we weren't of their faith, and you have to go through a whole process apparently to get ready in order to enter the temple. And so, but they took us into the visitor center where they had a scale model of the temple cut away, so they could tell you about the different rooms within the temple and what they were for and all of that sort of thing. So that was very interesting. It's always good to learn about other religions as well, just to give you a more worldly perspective, I guess. So you can understand where some people are coming from with their beliefs and things as well. So yeah, it was a very interesting, so that was our tour there. So this course, if I decide to go for the 4-year degree, I would have to be in Utah for 4 years to start with, and that would be part of what I had to learn. So, but the cool part is I get to learn around the library, and I learned in the library where I needed to go to, because the girl from Auckland was able to tell me when she found out I was going to go over there. She says, oh yeah, they're not open on a Sunday. I said, well, they just had the first floor open. She says, yeah, that's just basically the overlay of the library. She says, but to get to the records, you've got to go up or down. And she said, if you're looking for the New Zealand records, they're down on B2. And I said, well, I'm looking for English, Irish, Scottish, New Zealand, Australia. She says, B2. I said, for all of them? She says, yeah. I says, awesome. So I know where I'm going in the library when I finally get to go up there. I'm not sure if they're open yet, but I heard when I met one of the genealogists through LinkedIn and was having a conversation with him, he was telling me that he lives there in Salt Lake City, and he actually worked at the library for a time as well, so he knows the library very, very well. And he said that they are keeping with the city guidelines on the closures and everything, but when it comes to opening up again, they're going to put their own restrictions in place, and they're not going to open up as soon as everybody else does. They're going to take their time to open up, and the library was going to be opening up to professional genealogists only, and it had to be by appointment, and you had a set amount of time that you could be there, like an hour or 2 hours, and then you had to leave. And so I thought, that's reasonable. They're taking their precautions and everything else. So I don't know what's happening up there or anything like that, because I'm not up there right now. But one of my goals is to get back there when we get back to a semi-normal state, I guess, when they open up the library, is to go back up there too. So maybe summer next year, although summer next year I'm thinking of going up to around Toronto, Montreal, Quebec, New England, Vermont, that northeastern quadrant up there. So that's my plan for next summer, but we shall see. Who knows? We can make plans now, but things are going to come along and make them all different again. Don't know when the borders are going to open up. But there's a new alliance between, is it Canada, New Zealand, and the UK? I know it's Canada and New Zealand are two other countries, where on our New Zealand passport we would be able to enter Canada, and I think work up there as well. Yeah, there's some alliance that's going on. I think it's Canada. I know it's Canada and New Zealand are definitely involved, and I think the third country is like the UK. I have to go back and have a look and see, but there's going to be some pact they're going to come up with where we're able to move freely between the three countries if you're on a New Zealand passport. So I thought that was pretty cool, which means even if the borders are closed to US passport holders, I could get in on my New Zealand passport and then come back into the States on my US passport. So unless they decide to change all the immigration stuff and say we can't have two passports, that could be a problem. Who knows? We don't know what's going to happen. But, you can make plans and just know that there is a high possibility there could be changes and be okay with that. Just control what we can control and let the rest go. Don't let it affect your attitude or anything else. This year I was actually meant to be up in Toronto and Canada, in Quebec, in that area around July. I think it was July, July, August, I think I was meaning to be up there. But plans changed. So we just adapted. We just changed our plans. Things got shut down. Borders got shut down. So we just, okay, we can't go that direction. We're going to go this way instead. So be prepared for that. Know that things are going to change. You can make your plans as much as you want to make your plans. But there are things out there that are beyond our control that are going to force us to be able to change our plans. Like, for example, if you're planning a picnic outside and the heavens open up and it pours down with rain, you could go have a picnic outside if you wanted to, under the shelter of a gazebo or something like that, or you could take the picnic inside and have an indoor picnic instead. You may not go to the location that you originally wanted to, but you could still have your picnic. So think about things like that. These are our plans right now. If they change, we'll do this. Always have a plan B or a plan C. Yeah, because we don't know what's going to happen. We honestly don't. We can make our plans as best we want. All these people that have been wanting to get back on a cruise ship for ages, and they finally allowed us to go cruising again. And they kept saying, "Oh, we're going to start on this date," and then that date got close. That date, no, we're going to cancel everything. We've been pushed out another month, and then that date will come up, and no, we've been pushed out another month. So some people are not booking their cruises late next year. Some of them are trying to get on a cruise ship as soon as possible because they're desperate to get on a cruise ship, which I can totally understand because I totally miss the sound of the waves and the water and everything else and being out on the ocean. My favorite thing to do was in the mornings was to go and sit out on our balcony and just watch the world wake up around us. If it was a day at sea, it was awesome because there's nothing to see but the ocean. You might catch glimpses of land. If it was a day we're coming into a port, this side of the ship I was on the last cruise I did, was not the side that got hooked up Oh, actually, no, a couple of times it was. So depending which way round they're docking the ship, would be dependent on whether I got to see the docking action happen or I got to look out at the view with the docks on the other side of the ship. So it depended which way we came in and what we were doing. But I loved those early mornings sitting out there on the balcony. It was great. And then there was that morning, it was absolutely freezing cold on the last cruise that I did. And, well, not the last one, the one before that. The first cruise I did post-Brad. We're going into the fjords and going down to see one of the glaciers and things. And I got out there, I'm wearing my nightshirt. I've got shoes on my feet, no socks. I had a jacket on, no gloves. I don't even know what the temperature, I think it was like in the 40s maybe, 40 degrees centigrade, which will be single digits Celsius. It was freezing out there, but I was not leaving that balcony. I basically videotaped us all the way up to the glacier as we watched around the glacier and stuff, watched the glacier, actually caught on video the glacier calving, and then we started back out again, and I did not video on the way back out. I was sort of like, and my hand was literally wrapped around the phone. It was literally frozen to the phone when I got back inside. And I was peeling my finger, taking my right hand that was cold and peeling my fingers off from around my phone to get my phone out so I could go put it back on the charger. It was cold, but I was not going to leave that balcony. I didn't want to miss a moment of that scenery. It was absolutely stunning. It was gorgeous. And and then when they got into the area where the glacier was, they actually they didn't drop anchor. They pivoted on the bow, so they would swing the back end of the ship around into a big 360, so that everybody who had a balcony room got to see the glacier. It was cool, and that was calving like every 20 minutes. A big chunk of it would fall off and into the water, and I actually captured one of it on video. So excited to get that. So then I went back through the main video and happened to clip out, and was able to clip out just that segment where it carved, and put that up as a separate video all by itself. So that was pretty cool to be able to do that. But you know, how did I even get on this topic? I don't know. Oh yeah, plans change, things change. You know, that cruise was actually supposed to be, this is a good thing about how things change. So we're in May of 2018, Brad and I were booked to do a Panama Cruise Canal, 14 nights on Celebrity Infinity. We were going to leave Fort Lauderdale, end up in San Diego, 14 nights through the Panama Canal, which we were super excited about. We both wanted to see it. And then, of course, he passed away the previous September. And in January, it was time for final payment. And I was just sort of like, as much as I want to do the Panama Canal, I was not going to do 14 days on a ship by myself going through ports I didn't even know, into countries I'd never been in before. That just kind of scared me a little bit. And so I thought, you know, I want to do something that I know. And so I switched it to an Alaskan cruise, which started in Vancouver, did the inside passage to all the ports that we'd been to before, with the exception of Victoria, because that was a new port for me. But I didn't get off the ship in Victoria. I actually stayed on the ship because it was the night before we disembarked. And then we ended up in Seattle. And I did a bus tour around Seattle after we got off the ship, and then it dropped me off at my hotel, and then the next morning, in fact, I will tell you when this was, because I remember, let's see, chain of events. Okay, so I went up to Vancouver the night before, 2 nights before the cruise, so I got to stay in Vancouver for 2 nights before the cruise. I had a whole day in Vancouver. I played tourist. I did not play traveler, I played tourist. I went out, I did the hop-on, hop-off bus around Vancouver. It was awesome. I actually got to meet friends the day I arrived in Vancouver. I had a couple of friends that lived there that came out, and we met up for a late lunch, early dinner or something like that. So we had a great time catching up with them. The next day I played tourist on the hop-on, hop-off bus. The next morning I got up after like no sleep because we had this big loud noise that sounded like somebody was in the alley like revving a motorcycle. It was loud. And the hotel was an old hotel with single pane glass, so there was like no sound barrier with that. And directly down below, one of the, I think it was like one of the heating units or something, these big, huge things, had stopped working or something. They were trying to get it restarted. And I remember calling, you know, this is like after midnight. I'm calling down to the front desk. The phone rings and rings and rings and rings. And then finally somebody picks it up and goes, "We're working on it." Click. And I thought, and I'm just sitting there and I hold the phone out. I'm sort of like, And if I had some other emergency, and so when I went down the next day to check out, they go, oh, how was your stay with us? I said, well, it was fine until 12:20 this morning when this big racket started up directly below my room, 10 stories down. Oh, yes, well, we had this happen. I said, well, my problem is that when I called the front desk, they were very rude about the thing, and the fact, all they said is that they finally answered the phone and said, we're working on it, and hung up. I said, I could have been calling about anything except that noise. And that's how they were answering the phone. I said, I was not impressed with that at all. The fact that I got no sleep last night because you guys kept working on this thing for over an hour. And I said, that was bad. No apology, no offer for discounts or nothing. They were just like, oh yeah, like it happens all the time. So I'm like, that hotel is going off my list for recommendations. I will not stay at that hotel again. I will not recommend it for any of my clients. Their reaction to that whole incident was like, yeah, big black mark through that hotel name. Not staying there, not going there. If anybody says, oh, we want to go stay at this part, I'm going to say no. And I will tell them why. Up until that point, everything had been fine, it had been good. But then this whole incident happened. There was no apology, no nothing. I mean, even if they had said, oh, we're very sorry that your night was interrupted, even if they had acknowledged it that way, that would have been okay. But the fact that they turned around and went, yep, nah. Oh, okay. Just okay. Not even, I'm sorry to hear that, or I'm sorry you had your sleep was interrupted. We look forward to seeing you again. Nothing. It was just like, okay, and carried on. And I'm like, seriously, I worked in the hotel industry for 10 years. That was not acceptable. So I was not impressed. The thought of that hotel just went, whoosh. But yeah, so I went and did the cruise and had a great time. But that was something that was beyond my control. When my husband had passed away, that was beyond my control. And taking something that we were going to do together and changing it because I wasn't comfortable doing the 14-night cruise for my very first cruise by myself, plus my very first 14-night cruise. I was not going to do that by myself at that time, having just had Brad transition. So be prepared that things are going to change. Situations will change beyond your control, and it's just sort of like how you react to them is going to affect the future processes. So with Brad passing, it was like, I don't want to do that cruise. Well, maybe I can switch it to another cruise, or I could get my money back on the deposit. Those were my options, and I chose to do another cruise because the deposit we had paid on the other cruise paid for the entire cruise, for the Alaska cruise for me by myself. I was like, yes, I love that. So, that's pretty cool. So it was no extra money out of pocket. I didn't have my airline tickets, and I got them real cheap. So, change what you can change, deal with what you can change, and if you can't, if there's circumstances beyond your control, just change your situation, because that's what you're in control of. You have the ability to change things in a reaction to a situation, so make it for the better. Always have a plan B. Me, I'm just flying by the seat of my pants right now. That's it from me. Have a super fantastic, sparkling rest of your Tune-Up Tuesday. We will catch you tomorrow morning for Winning Wednesdays. Hei konera.